the first quarter. I think only a month or two ago we came here. We went through the whole business model. So I decided to update on this event, more on what happened in the first quarter, and I guess we could touch on the business model in the Q&A session if we have to. Okay, let's start with the first slide. Maybe this is a recap. NVD is a company within Singha Corporation Group, indirectly owned through Singha Estate. We are a subsidiary of Singha Estate of about 52%. So the main shareholders, obviously Singha Estate. The founder of Nirvana Development currently own about 18%. The rest is free floated in the stock exchange, which is SET, starting from May last year. Market cap, as at the end of May, a few days ago, is about 132 million US dollars. Asset size about almost 400 million. D2E liabilities is about almost 240. The rest is equity there. We like to call ourselves a high-end property developer with specialties on prefabricated construction services. It's a merger between two companies, which I mentioned a bit, Nirvana Development and DAII Group. Since the merger, we talked about 10 times capital increase through the M&A activities. So our prime objective or ultimate financial goal is to rebuild return on equity by 3 different ways: land acquisition strategies, joint venture partnership collaborations, and of course, building recurring income businesses. The business line, I would say, is of course the develop for sale segment, which is the typical business for property developers. We buy land, we develop either single detached home, townhome, home office, or condominium, and we sell them. Rather than develop for sales, we building the recurring income business. Recurring income business for us is a bit different from maybe the rest of the players in the market. We like to build on DAII's own original business, which is home building service. So, but in the recent years, we tweaked that a little bit. We turned that into home building service for project base. By saying that is what we name it ourselves, which is what we call internally turnkey solution. It's a service that we provide to landowner who willing to develop the land in collaboration with NVD. By that, we start from the very top end, which is the master plan design, all the way down to construction, to sales process, transfer of ownership to the ultimate customers, as well as home care after sales service at the end of the line. So for us, we create efficiency in home building service business by constructing a bulk of houses all at one area, rather than doing retail home building service, which we will develop this down the line. But for the time being, we will focus on the project base. So with this approach, we could be recognizing revenues in a period of time, let's say for 10 months, based on progress of construction. So if you can imagine a number of houses stacked together, we get a pretty good chunk of income in any given period, which is to us backlog is quite definite, and opportunities for this kind of approach is all over the country. We tapping on wealthy families around the country, especially in the downtown of each provinces, 76 provinces around the country. So with this approach, we encounter pretty low risk. We don't have to lend money from the bank and borrow money from the bank and buy the land, bearing all the risk all by ourselves. But instead, we develop in joint cooperation with the landowner. So we think we want to go on this. It's a strategic focus for us going forward. We apply also prefabrication construction service of DAII, utilizing the capacity of the factory, the precast factory, and we provide turnkey construction service to other industries such as hospitalities, telecommunication business, as well as the recreation park. And the last one is pretty much like others. This one takes a long time to get a sizable and meaningful revenue and income. But we like to tap on this as well. Will not contribute so much in terms of P&L contribution, but we think there is, for example, opportunities for park and ride structure. The more electric trains, or the sky train we call it locally here, extended out further to the outskirts of Bangkok, there would be demands for parking space. We're already seeing a lot of stations of Airport Link toward the end of the line by the airport. There's a lot of cars parking along the street, which is very much subject to a lot of risk. You ride on a train, you never know what's going to happen to your car. So we thought that in that kind of area, if we can come across a good deal in terms of long-term leasehold land, we would tap onto this. And again, we would use the precast capacity that we have at the factory to build all these pieces and install them together. So that's kind of our way of applying capability of DAII toward new businesses that generate more stability in incomes and revenue and incomes. So that's pretty much in brief for the business model. From here onward, I will touch on and focus more on the first quarter. Biggest event in the first quarter, starting in February, was a deal on the land acquisition. We bought about almost 44 rights of land in the Bang Na King Keo area, pretty much next door to Tenacity Golf Course. And you can see it's very close to the Suvarnabhumi Airport, the international airport. This land will be used to develop a brand new product under the name of Nirvana Element. If you recall our product, the entry-level product is our townhouse under the name of Nirvana Define. Starting price is 7 million baht from the smallest model all the way up to 15 million baht for the largest one. We thought that we don't have enough products to tap entry level, especially for those who prefer single detached home. So that's why we designed this 2 stories SDH, single detached home, and price it at the same level as townhouse. So it's another segment, entry level segment for our potential customer out there. It's pretty much built on the original, I would say, chassis of Ginza Home, which is the core bread and butter of DAII Group product. We expect to launch this probably late, somewhere in the second half of this year, probably in the third quarter. And equally, second important event for us is a launch of legendary products of Nirvana. Okay, this is 3-story single detached home under the brand of Nirvana Beyond. The original design was launched about 12 or 13 years now. This is an all-new relaunch of the second generation of Beyond series. As you can see, this picture is intentionally taken to highlight the fact that living room on the second floor is diagonal in degrees when you compare to the top floor and the bottom floor plan. So you can kind of imagine already inside of your head that space inside is not a typical house. We intend to build this house to give that feeling of staying in a resort, a hotel or resort 365 days a year for our customer. This is the frontage of it. Starting from the right is the largest model, Beyond Luxe. It's about, I think 400 plus square meters. The one in the middle is Beyond Mind, Type Mind, which is about 370 square meters. And the smallest one on the most left is type Space, which is about 300 square meters. We launched 2 projects concurrently on the last weekend of March. First one being on the new Krungthep Grita Road, or somebody would call Srinakharin Rom Grau Road, which is a 10 lanes road connecting, I would say, CBD to the international airport, an alternative route to the airport, if you like. Okay, this project is under the name of Nirvana Beyond Ramanai Krungthep Grita. It's a JV project which we own about 49%. The other 49% is owned by Daiwa House Group of Japan. Concurrently, on the same weekend, we launched another project, Nirvana Beyond Udon Thani. This one is the turnkey solution, which I explained earlier in our attempt to create recurring income. This project is very exciting for us because we got a piece of land, a very prime area, next to a big lake in the heart of Udon Thani. So if you can imagine having a house for Bangkok, for Bangkokian, having a house next to Suan Rumpini Park is quite prestigious. So we are on the last stretch of finishing up the other 2 model house. So we're expecting a full launch of this project by the end of this month. Okay, but for the first quarter was a sneak preview only. We try to give a sense of entertainment industry a little bit. Only limited target audience get to see it. Basically, we give the rights to our customer base first. If they like to move or upgrade to a newer house, larger space, more creative space, it's their right to pick their favorite plots before others. So that's the whole concept about sneak preview. This is to highlight a few design features in the new Beyond house. You can kind of see from the previous page, there's an outdoor staircase leading up from the garage directly to the second floor. This is the stair we're talking about. So guests could go up to the living room on the second floor directly without interfering with seniors who may be staying on the bottom floor. It's the same concept as the first Beyond. We designed this for the 3 generation living together, starting from grandma generation all the way down to grandchildren generation. But we did correct a few things that might be inferior to the newer one. For example, the inner court that family could use for weekend recreations. In the old models, there was no cover. It's exposed to the rain. We get about 6 months of rain a year. So this time around, the floor plate of the 3rd story is covering the inner court. So they can enjoy this all year round, for example. The living room on the 2nd floor, you can kind of see this is, I forgot the word for odd-shaped square, trapezoid shape of space. The void for this house is not a rectangle or it's not a square, it's trapezoid. So it's very, very different experience. For those who are watching, next time you come around to Bangkok, we would love to take you to this project. So you can experience this yourself, what trapezoid void area looks like. This is the entrance gate for this project. The facilities, the clubhouse, and a little area for gyms, for fitness. 25 meters long swimming pool. The project value is about 2.6 billion baht, 85 units of prefab, all new Beyond series. As I said, we own only 49% of the company. So this will not show up on the top line. It will be showing up on the P&L, on our consolidated P&L on the bottom line of share of net profit from, in this case, would be joint venture. Okay. Another view of the swimming pool and the central facilities with the 2 models of houses in the background. These are the pictures of our customers. As you can see, this kind of design does not answer to general public. We have to admit. We picked this customer base from the very beginning because we believe that this target segment can survive through economic cycles. They are pretty much, I like to use the word young professional, young successful professional who succeed in their career earlier on at their age. So they can afford a house starting from 25 million baht up to about 50 million baht. These are what they look like. CEOs is, as usual, go down and make sales himself on the bottom right-hand corner pictures. This is a sketch of the Nirvana Beyond Udon Thani. The lake, this is a sketch of the person standing in the lake, in the island inside the lake, looking back to the project. This is the clubhouse area and the swimming pool of the project inside the whole compound. This is the entrance. This one is about 1 billion baht project value, 40 units, again, fully prefab, all new Nirvana Beyond series. But this one is turnkey solution. So we don't recognize the revenue of the land sales because we don't own the land. Landlord owns the land. So they recognize revenue on their own P&L. We only recognize the home building service, okay, which is on our second line of revenue, if you are familiar with our P&L. It's just pictures of the first event that we launched. This one in March, the Banyan Tree Residences, Riverside, Bangkok, our only condominium for the time being is completed. We started transfer a few units starting from fourth quarter last year, but all common facilities have been complete. So we started marketing at full steams now. There are red carpet events, I should say. This is is where we hosting private dining experience for high net worth individual, which are our potential target. We catered in Michelin star chef from hotels or some creative chefs that we could find and cook for them in the condominium's own private dining area after briefing about the project for them in the boardroom. So they let them experience the usage of the central facility themselves, as well as showcasing the room so they can look and feel the finishing that we have put in. So with these events in the first quarter translate into a set of numbers like this. We did grow the revenue pretty well, I guess, if you're talking about year-on-year comparison. From first quarter last year of about 540 million baht. We finished the first quarter with 885 million baht, growing about 65%. A bit lower than fourth quarter, but the first quarter we had a lot more units of the condominiums. So 800 is pretty good in our record in terms of top line. In terms of margin, gross margin first, is a big is some improvement from last year. We own I think about half of the revenue, 885, is being contributed by the condominium itself. Obviously, as you are familiar with, condominium has a little bit higher gross margin compared to the landed residence. In terms of OPEX and other related expenses, pretty much in line, but only one item which I might be worthwhile discussing is the financial cost. You can see a big jump from 7.9 million in the first quarter last year to 34.6 million in the first quarter this year. This is basically pretty much entirely from the project finance loan for the condominium. Since the first unit start being transferred, we can no longer capitalize this interest. So that's why everything needs to be expensed out right away. Going forward, you can kind of expect this repeat. The share of net profit from JV, basically this one from the Nirvana DAII development. The project just started the first sneak preview, so obviously there's only cost and expenses right now. So that's why the contribution is negative. But on the bottom line, net profits, we're talking 78 million, growing from 31 million last year. A very strong growth for us. And one thing I like to remark on this line is we like to use the consolidated net profit for discussion. These days, I think the stock exchange of market, the SET, listed our net profit as some 40-something million baht. That is the non-consolidated net profit. While on the consolidated basis, it's pretty much the condominium and the JV with with Daiwa House. Both of the projects are run by us. We manage the construction, we manage the sales process. So looking at the consolidated basis should be a little bit more reflective of the overall performance. That's why we use the consolidated. In terms of balance sheet, nothing changed that much. I guess a few things I would point out on the asset side, which is this one is listed as in the inventories and cost of property development, but the 400 million baht additional here is pretty much the land in Bang Na area that we acquired. The shift in the liabilities are pretty much the shift between long-term and short-term. Some loan becoming due within 12 months, so it shifts to the current asset. That's all. Other than that, pretty much everything in line. We're talking about interest-bearing debt of about 5.9 billion baht compared to equity of about 5.8 billion baht. So DE is about still pretty low, 1 point something. In terms of outlook for second quarter, this is our standard sheet that for analysts to follow. We're talking backlog of about 1.7 billion that should be rolling in as our revenue in the second and third and fourth quarter this year, depending upon which plot. Some sales have made on some block of condominium, which should be finished in fourth quarter. So that's why this 1.7 will be rolling throughout the year, while the available for sales worth about 10 billion, almost 11 billion baht for us already for the project that we have already built. The main contributors, I would say, into P&L would be this particular one right here, Nirvana Beyond, Sinakarin Brahma 9, and the Banyan Tree Residence, Riverside, Bangkok. I might note a bit, at work Ramintra is doing well these days. The more traffic jam we have along the pink line, which is being built right now, the better sales we experience for the home office product that we have. So in terms of the townhouse Nirvana Beyond, Sinakarin Rama 9, we're talking about 71 units sold. Pretty much we're coming toward the last batch of the first phase. Okay, we have about 39 units to be transferred actually 39 units already transferred in the first quarter. Remaining 32 units will be coming in the first and the second half of the year. As I said, some units are in the schedule to be finished down the line. These are the units that customer like that particular position. As for example, they want the frontage of the house pointing north. No units in the first phase is available, so we have to open sales for that particular customer in the second phase. So, so there are some of the 32 units should be transferred in the fourth quarter as well. But the massive sales of phase 2 should start in the second quarter this year. We continue sales of our brand new Beyond series, the joint venture with Daiwa House. Official launch was already passed in April. It was a challenge for us to pin that press conference and the official launch down because of the important events that happened this year, starting from the election all the way down to the royal coronation event that we had. But in terms of sales, I think this number is a bit off. We added another unit over the weekend. We sold another unit. So right now booking is 6, but 4. You should add 1 to both booking and backlog. So 6 units booked, 4 units in backlog. The other 2 customers are a bit, they're still making decisions, final decisions. So marketing activity should carry on throughout the years. Now this picture is a real picture of a real condominium now. We might have seen these pictures about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Render pictures of the building, but this one is real. The 45 stories, freehold, 100% riverfront condominium is complete. As you can see, this picture highlights a lot of things. All the units are waterfront, obviously, and each floor, maximum units, only 4. So very, very exclusive, very ultra luxury segment for only 133 families. That's all the units we have in all 45 floors. You see, obviously, it's a sanctuary by itself. It's not crowded. But if you like the activities from time to time, you can take our own shuttle boats down to Icon Siam, which is only 5 minutes boat ride away from our project. Or if you like street foods along the Chinatown of Bangkok, you can take another ferry, another shuttle boat to the Ratchawong Pier, which is also about 5 minutes away from our own pier. So after all the activities, you can come back to peace and serenity of our homes again. So that's the way we sell this condominium. But as you can see, this is a picture of our condominium looking from the Bangkok side of the riverbank. But if you look from our side of the bank, this is the picture you see. It's much different in terms of landscape. Okay, looking right from this is from the very top floor. By the way, the penthouse is sold. Duplex 800 square meters was sold in May, only 3 weeks ago. This is a picture from the top floor. You can see, looking right, you can see the CBD, all the skyscrapers, all the iconic buildings in Bangkok. You see all of them. And on top of this, during the event, during the New Year's festival, you can watch the firework at Icon Siam from your own living room. How luxurious is that? Okay. Looking on the left-hand side, this is another view. Some may take this for granted, but all the lights that you see there are the sacred ancient space that we have as landmark of Bangkok. This one in the middle here is the Temple of Dawn, or we call it locally Wat Arun. Across the river from it is the Grand Palace, where the Emerald Buddhas are being situated. And the river is curving in an S shape, so it's quite unique in terms of view on this side as well. So up to you. You like it the Old Town view or the CBD view? This one is our second upcoming very hot items being hopefully launched by the end of this quarter. It's a low-rise, 8 stories condominium. We're talking about only 196, about 200 units of high-end segment. This time around will not be ultra luxury. This is a segment that Nirvana is quite keen about. But the unique selling point of this condominium is only 100 meters away from Sirirat Hotel. And it's right along the line of the blue line and the orange line trains. This one, project value is about 650. Being so close to a large-scale medical facilities, a lot of demands coming in. We are, I guess CEO is setting a target for sale teams already that he wants to see all units sold within an hour. We'll see if the sales can achieve that or not. I'm not trying to give any promise here, but just kind of it's our internal target that we want to achieve. By the way, this project value is only 10% of the condominium. It's not that big deal. And it will take at least a year for us to recognize this revenue because we have nothing on the land right now. We are building the sales gallery only. This is another render of the Nirvana Beyond Udon Thani. It's now 12 units sold, a little bit under 30% of the total units sold, if I put that way. Full launch, as I said, we expect all 3 model house to be complete by mid-month this month, and the full-scale launch will be rolled out. This is a glimpse of our first park and ride structure. As I said, it's a trial new business for us. This particular piece of land, we got a very good deal on the terms of long-term rents. So we constructed 6 stories building using prefab capacity that we have at Don factory. This one is very close to BTS Mochit station and MRT Jatujak is an interchange station. Sun Tower itself is quite packed in terms of parking. Not enough parking. It's overflow out to the surrounding area. So this one is being tested our business model. And if this works, and if we can operate this well, we will roll this out in more of the sites. This is a picture of the what you call labor camp, dormitory for workers in Singha Park. These workers works on the tea farming, tea plantation, I should say. In Singha Park, which we're talking about over 10,000 rights. Okay, it's again another application of prefabrication construction service that we try out. It's coming to a very end. We're finishing up the building now. It's a two-story facilities. Doesn't worth a lot of money. But at least these are something that we can make a headway into, and it's not subject to the same cyclicality of the property market. An update on the land bank, we're still pretty much on the same land bank portfolio. We net around 216 rides along the new upcoming road, Srinakarin Romkrao Road, which I mentioned, connecting CBD to the airport. The other two plots are still the same. We got these into our balance sheet through the M&A transaction. Almost 8 rides next to Central Ratanatibet, and 4.5 rides next to the Bang Rak Yai SkyTrain station. So enough land bank for us for the next 3 to 5 years. A check on milestone that we have published or we communicate with the market. We completed our launch of the 2 projects, the new Beyond. We are working really hard on finishing the sales gallery so we can launch our first low-rise condominium close to the Sirirat Hospital, which is this one right here. The second Beyond turnkey solution was supposed to be kicked off within this quarter as well. But this one I'll communicate right here that there might be some delay in this because land bank are still going through the process of transferring ownership for the land on their part. So we just have to wait for that. But the land and the area is very promising, very good area. The park and ride here, which is the picture that we saw. In the second half, we will be launching Nirvana Element. Remember the land that we got from the very first slide. New segment that we're going to launch, reaching into customer that we didn't have product for them before. There will be own developed for sale project as well as the recurring income as well. There will be a turnkey solution project for this product as well along in the Krungthep Greater area. This condominium right here is another one that we finishing up the design process. This one is, I think we talked about land acquisition for this in fourth quarter last year. It's in the Prachachun area, right next to another hospital, Kasem Rat Hospital, and in the vicinities of the Bang Su Central Station, which is the new Grand Station for Bangkok. All the SkyTrain, all the high-speed trains, every railways kind of transportation converge to this Grand Station. And on the last quarter of the year, we expect to launch another segment, but this time is a new brand above Beyond. Okay, it's a collectible item, so we name it Nirvana Collection. It's basically our first customer for Beyond house. Back then, they could be in their 40s or 50s. Right now, that very first customer should be in their 60 around 50 or 60s. So they should be needing some different space. But again, being our customers from the very beginning, they don't like conventional housing. So we decided to create an upper segment for this particular customer. So you can kind of expect the first floor master bedroom being a bedroom for the homeowner. The parents probably have passed away, so the grandchildren could be on the third floor instead. It's still three generation housing, but the generation shift. So that's the kind of thinking that we have behind. Nirvana Define, this one we have to admit that finding location suitable for our unique looking townhouse is very hard these days. We could find a land, but could be too expensive to make a good return on the investment. So we still on our hunt for a sizable piece of land that we could situate Nirvana Define in area that is not in the east side of Bangkok. The first two Define are on the east side. We like to explore west side or the north side of Bangkok. So if anyone have a leads in terms of land, connect to us through investor relation if you like. And lastly, recurring income, another Nirvana Beyond project should be launched toward the end of the year. This one is a land pretty close to Nirvana Element actually, but it's right off the Bang Na Trat Road, which is very, very suitable for Nirvana Beyond. That's pretty much it for what we have. I guess I use all the time I have. Do we have time for questions a little bit? Okay, maybe I do a little bit of questions. Let's see how many. Oh, I don't have that many. Okay, I'll read out the question first. Hi, sorry for basic questions. As I am fairly new to the company, what percentage between Thai customers and foreigners? That's the first question. The second question, how do customers pay for the unit in cash or using mortgage? First question first. If you're talking landed properties, we talking 100% Thai customers. Foreigners cannot buy a landed property unless they have a Thai spouse, so they can own the land. But in terms of condominium, I think for the units we have sold for the Banyan tree, I think we pretty much right on half and half on par. Half being foreigners, half being Thai. The second question, how do customers pay for the units in cash or using mortgage? Since they are very unique target segment, a lot of our customers are paying cash. It's like I think I mentioned this in the opportunity days a week or two ago, that our problems in the second quarters, more than anything else, our problem is more of building fast enough so that we can transfer the unit to customers. Our townhouse are selling quite well. We get at least 1 or 2 units every weekend. But the problem for us is building fast enough so they can be transferred and recognized as revenue. This particular segment is not subject to the same cyclicality of the economic cycles. And they have cash to pay for the house 100%. But if not, if they choose to pay via mortgage, there are, I would say about half and half being cash and half being mortgage. Second question, may I ask about dividend policy? Any potential to increase the payout? I think our policy is 40% of the consolidated net profit. The policy is 40%, but last year we paid 90-something%. So I don't think we can adjust any higher than that. We still a growing company, and we need the capital to reinvest, but we recognize that we should repay some of the earnings, especially on some transaction that we get some big earnings. The reason I mention this is to achieve quality of growth, strategic direction, or or strategic objective, if you will. We need to smoothen out the earnings by having the last, if you remember, I think about slide 3. The very bottom line of this page is land trading. Now, I like to highlight this a bit. It's not about speculative purposes. We buy our land in bulk. Okay, that's how we. That's actually how we. What we mean by first bullet here, land acquisition strategy. We buy a piece of land in bulk. That's how we ensure lower cost. But obviously, in bulk, there are some good lands along the street. Good in terms of for commercial purposes, but not good in terms of residential property development. So from time to time, we cut this small piece along the street and sell it to some retail, some to developers, other developers that have some similar philosophy as we do. From time to time, you can kind of see we mark our asset to the market value. At that point is where we repay or we pay out to our shareholders through dividends. So that's why you can you saw actually already two times dividend payouts for the performance of 2018, equate to about 5% dividend yield. With the softer share price these days due to the industry sentiment, the payout yield on the investment is actually higher. Okay, third question, could you please comment on potential competitors in both Bangkok and countryside? I would say our market is quite unique. That's not really a head-on competitors, although there are some true fan, I should say, that likes our design and their design looks very similar to ours. But when you copy design work, it's quite hard to make it identical. So I think we stick with our what we do, what we're good at, and we improve from there. As I already mentioned, the second generation Beyond correct the first generation's not exactly flaw, but it's maybe something that we may have overlooked in the first generation. We corrected there. On the countryside basis, virtually nobody. We respect the residents of Udon Thani by taking our top brand for the time being and offer them with that. Compared to others using sub-brand, not the top brand, launching for countryside people. We don't do a big project for Udon Thani. We're talking only 40 units. There should be enough high net worth families out there, especially Udon Thani being a commercial area from the ancient days. So we should pretty much have enough target for that 40 units. Is there any barrier of entry into this? I guess for no barriers to entry, I guess if they can get the designer that we use. One thing about our philosophy is that we don't outsource the design of the house. We build our internal people from a very, very young age. And he graduated from design college and joined us from graduation, actually a team of them. And we build them internally. So everything that we experience, some of our customers are designers themselves. we learn from them also. And so that's how our house could be, maybe facade could be copied, but the functionalities inside is quite different. So to answer this question, I think there is some barrier to entries in terms of design element. Last questions about banyan tree. Recently, you have only banyan tree in parts of condominium. So do you have any project in this part? I think we went through that. We will probably redevelop another condominium of that segment. That is actually Sing Estates, our mother company segment, ultra luxury. We got this piece of land prior to merger between the share swap, I should say, with the Sing Estate. So to construct anything less than ultra luxury along the riverfront on a precious piece of land is a waste. So we thought we went full steam in terms of segment for banyan tree. Luckily, it's diverse from the S project in the CBD area, so we don't compete with Sing Estates condominium. But going forward, our condominium will be in our what we good at, which is the high-end segment. As you can kind of see in our design, low-rise on Isarapap Road. 2 condominium projects coming up in the next, I would say, 1 or 2 years. That's pretty much everything we have. I have entertained all the questions. I guess time's out. I have to go. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We'll be sure to come back next quarter. Prior to that, there would be another result announcement for the second quarter, probably in August, late August. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.